and more accessible. It's all good. So she says, our purpose is to make healthy choices easier and more accessible for the general community. And we've got a slide deck that's coming up here in just a moment. Perfect. And when I can claim, I have the clicker. Yes, all righty. So we're going to start off with a little, bit of bad news. The lunch today was delicious and healthy, but the fact of the matter is that it's getting much harder to lead a healthy lifestyle. We're constantly bombarded through social media channels, advertising about, fast food restaurants or smoking or this, that, and the other. Some statistics here, 69% of Americans can be classified as overweight or obese. The environment within which we live just makes those healthy or actually unhealthy choices easier to make. And that's a problem, right? And we all are well aware we're in the midst of a global pandemic. So the pandemic of loneliness and isolation is also quite real, and the impact that that's having on our mental health. So that's a little bit of the downer, but there is some good news. There was a tremendous study done in 1999 called the Danish Twin Study. And what was determined in that study is that about 80% of our health and well-being actually has to do with the lifestyle and the overall environment in which we live. 80%. About 20% has to do with our genetics. So there's some good news there, right? So if we change our environment, if we change our behaviors and our overall lifestyle, we can live these long, amazing, healthy, happy lives. Oops. I don't know. All right. There we go. So the project, the concept really all began with this gentleman here in the upper corner. His name is Dan Buettner. And him and his team, he was a National Geographic explorer. Him and his team were interested with traveling all around the world to understand and study the populations that live the longest lives. So folks that were living to 100 years or more, centenarians. And they conducted a 20-year comprehensive study. And the original research was published in that National Geographic there, which is still to this day, the third most popular National Geographic of all time. I have a little copy here as well that really profiles that groundbreaking research. And so what they discovered is that there are 5 original blue zones on the planet. And again, these are the places with the highest concentration of centenarians. Folks living in these communities are 3 times more likely to live to 100 years old, living on average 12 more good years than Americans. So what are they up to? That's the question. We're going to take a little step through. I know many of us have not been able to travel, so we're going to do a little virtual travel around to some of these original blue zones here. The first that was discovered is an island about 125 miles off the coast of Italy called Sardinia. This was the first original blue zone that was confirmed, and there's still actually extensive population research going on there today. There's a couple key characteristics that make Sardinia so notable. The place itself is a kind of a high rocky environment. Generally, people are shepherds, so they're using their body quite a bit throughout the day. That's something that we call natural movement, which is a key term that you'll hear me say again. Folks are growing their own food, which then leads to them eating a primarily plant-based diet. They also, I have a feeling this might be popular in this crowd, they enjoy a glass of wine or maybe one more about every day. They've got a type of wine there called Cananao, which is a very special wine that is super high in antioxidants, which helps improve longevity and health. So we borrow that and we call it wine at 5, which is one of the secrets to longevity. So thought you all might like to know that. The other piece, of course, is that this community celebrates folks as they get older. Actually, social equity increases as people age. Elders in the community are seen as sources of wisdom. And so there's a tremendous amount of intergenerational learning and support that happens, and that absolutely contributes to their health and well-being. The next blue zone that was discovered is in Okinawa, Japan. So this, I see one lady, there's two ladies in the room. This is the longest lived female population in the world. So maybe we all need to pack up and move to Okinawa, I don't know. The longevity profile there is impressive. They have the longest disability-free lifestyle in the world in Okinawa, Japan. On average, living 7 years longer than Americans. There's 5 times as many centenarians overall. They have about 1/5 the rate of colon and breast cancer and 1/6 the rate of cardiovascular disease. Where 80% of Americans over the age of 60 will develop one of these in their lifetime, which is just extraordinary. So some of the keys and secrets that were discovered in Okinawa is what's happening here. This is what is called a moai. So this is a group of folks basically coming together around a shared sense of purpose. You might even call this Rotary Club a moai. This particular group of ladies here, they have been gathering together, let's see, for 97 years. 97 years. Can you imagine the stories they have? The average the average age in this group is 101. But in all seriousness, the tightness of that social network has absolutely contributed to their well-being and their longevity. 100%. The data supports that, which is pretty amazing. There's also a little saying in Okinawa that people say before they eat their food. They say quietly to themselves, they say hara hachi bu. Hara hachi bu. This is a 2,500-year-old Confucius saying that basically means eat mindfully and eat till you're about 80% full. Interesting, right? Why is that? Well, the science tells us that there's a disconnect between our head and our gut, right? Our head's like, I'm so good, I want to keep eating. But the fact of the matter is it takes a little bit of time for us to make the connection that we're actually full and we need to stop eating. So that's what this little saying is all about. So stop eating when you're about 80% full and eat mindfully. Again, primarily plant-based diet. This is a common thread you're going to start to hear. And just generally living healthy, active lifestyles. What was that picture of your lunch? I think he's practicing the mindful martial art. So it's a way of staying limber and moving. The next one is always a little bit of surprising, Loma Linda, California. So as many of you know, this is about 60 miles inland from Los Angeles, right here in our very own state. The key here in this community is there's a very high concentration of Seventh-day Adventists. So very deeply, a community that's deeply rooted in faith as one of the cornerstones to their belief structure. This lady here, Marge, 101 years old, on her exercise bike every day. Pretty amazing. But this faith-based community is absolutely central to the health and well-being of this community again. They take the scripture quite seriously. They eat primarily plant-based as well. They take Sabbath very seriously. On the weekends, there is no work. There is relaxation. We call that downshifting. So de-stressing, downshifting, putting the worries of the work week or whatever it is aside and connecting with your friends, connecting with your family, and being together in a meaningful way. And that's really important to this community. Lastly, the final two blue zones are in the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica and Icaria, Greece. So, discovered all these amazing blue zones. The next question is, are there common characteristics that exist regardless of geography that all of these communities share? The answer is yes. And so we call these our Power 9. Oops, sorry. We call these our Power 9. These are the key components to having people live these healthy, happy lives. So as you can see, it might be a little tricky to see because of some of the color, but the top one here is moving naturally. So consistent low intensity movement throughout the day, walking, super important. Not necessarily going to the gym and pumping a bunch of iron, but staying active and moving your body. Absolutely important every day. Having the right outlook, understanding what your purpose is in the world. What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning? You all, I know, are guided by a tremendous sense of service, and that is helping you live longer, better lives. Downshifting. Americans are really good at stressing ourselves out, right? So building up practices to help you release the stress at the end of the day, whether it's watching the sunset, petting your dog, going for a walk, reading a book, having rituals of your own to help release the stress, absolutely important. All the Blue Zones communities eat wisely. And so 3 components there, the 80% rule, hara hachibu, eating a primarily plant-based diet, not to say that meat is out of the picture completely, but rethinking your portion size. They actually say that about the palm of your hand is about the portion size of the meat we should be eating, and really only on special occasions. So friends at 5, or as we like to call it, wine at 5, is absolutely one of the keys to living these long, healthier, happier lives. And of course, then community. So being in your right tribe, the people who you feel closest to, putting your loved ones first, absolutely important, family and belonging. So those are the key secrets to the Blue Zones success. So Blue Zones project essentially takes that key research and brings it to communities across the United States. We essentially reverse engineer those principles and practices into communities. So we're currently working across 70 communities in 13 different states, impacting over 4 million lives. Blue Zones Project Monterey County came here, starting in Salinas, thanks to the tremendous dedication and vision of these local sponsors. You see Salinas Valley Memorial Healthcare System, Taylor Farms, and Montage Health. That's why Dr. Packer put in a good word for us. But really, they see the efficacy of this project. By the time folks end up in hospitals, it's often too late. But what Blue Zones Project is trying to do is go upstream and support preventative measures, lifestyle changes to make the population healthier overall. Why Monterey County? A little bit of a, more kind of tough facts here, but diabetes rates in this county are tremendous. Diabetes, pre-diabetes. Thousands of families are reporting that food insecure in this county, which to me is always a head scratcher because we are absolutely growing produce for a lot of the world. And so, connecting people to healthy, fresh vegetables in this county has been a challenge, and it's something that we seek to address. Half of folks in this county are struggling with a sense of hope and purpose. So that's why Blue Zones Project was brought here. We started in Salinas in 2018. Last year, we expanded both into the peninsula cities. So those are defined as Monterey, Marina, and Seaside, San City, Del Rey, by proximity, and then also a county-wide application. So we've been working across the county now, down into South County, up into Castroville, really seeking to engage in meaningful ways in community. And then lastly, we're right in the midst of our final piece of expansion, which is into Gonzales and King City. So all the way across Monterey County, we're seeking to impact and bring healthier practices. Blue Zones Project works on this idea of a life radius. So what that is if you're in your own mind's eye, think about the 10 to 15 mile radius where you live, work, play, pray, buy your groceries, take your kids to school, whatever it may be. That's your life radius, and that's what we're seeking to transform. And we do that across 3 different P's: people, places, and policy. Just gonna take a peek at the time. All right. So in terms of people, we have lots of different opportunities that we bring to community. And just to say again, thanks to the generosity of these local sponsors, everything that we do and offer is 100% free to the community, always depending on the audience in bilingual as well. So we offer things like walking and potluck moais. There's that word again that we borrow from Okinawa. So a walking moai is essentially a walking group where we encourage community members to get together. They pick a day, they pick a time, and they go for a walk. It's not about, race walking. This is really about coming together, being able to have a conversation. So you're building those relationships, those social bonds, and you're moving, you're getting healthy. Everybody wins, right? So we have, I don't even know, maybe 15 or more walking groups currently happening all across Monterey County, and more starting every day. Potluck moais, same concept, but bringing people together to share plant-based meals together, right? It's kind of more fun to experiment with recipes when you're doing it with friends and in community. So that's the idea. Obviously, during COVID, it's been a little trickier for those sorts of things, but that's another thing that we do. We offer purpose workshops. You heard me mention that purpose is absolutely one of the key pieces to living a long, healthy, happy life. So we've got this great workshop. It's about an hour and a half or 2 hours that helps people really tap into what are their natural born gifts and talents, and how can they bring them in a better way out into the world. I'm telling you, usually at the end of purpose workshops, there is not often a dry eye. It's amazingly transformative for the people who are involved with it. We also have purpose moai, so people who want to take a deeper dive into the purpose and exploring that, that's available. We have countless volunteer opportunities. We've been partnering with lots of different organizations, doing beach cleanups, park cleanups, community cleanups all across the way. We were just in Seaside this past weekend, partnering with the Friends of Seaside Parks Association, doing a big planting and litter pickup. So lots of opportunities there. Community events, cooking classes, you get the picture. We're looking for all sorts of ways to engage individuals and bring some of these principles to light in fun and healthy and happy ways. We also work with places. So this is one of the key pieces where we really seek to transform community. So we work with schools. There's a very specific set of evidence-based practices that we will bring to schools and work with school leadership and administrators to bring things. So some examples there might be developing a school garden, working with the school nutrition program to improve the offerings in the cafeteria, ensuring that movement is integrated throughout the school day. So those are some examples. And our goal is to basically lead schools through a process so they can then become Blue Zones approved school sites. We also seek to engage with work sites. So same concept, but bringing wellness and well-being practices to employees it increases retention, of course, employee happiness, and people just are excited to come to work if they know that their employers really care and are investing in their health and well-being. We also work with restaurants. So more and more, we have a couple Blue Zones approved restaurants that we've just been able to work with in Monterey, Zab Zab Thai. If you all know that restaurant, they've been great. And then also in Marina, Aki Fresh, they've become a Blue Zone approved restaurant as well. So that's putting plant-based items on the menu, making small tweaks to the environment, like for instance, removing salt shakers off the table. And you're like, what's that about? There's a lot around, just unconscious behavior that we don't really realize we're doing. Before you even taste your food, you reach for the salt shaker, right? And we know that low sodium diets are absolutely healthier for us. So if you kind of remove that, that thoughtless or kind of rote behavior, right, it might shift things a little bit. Grocery stores, so trying to, again, make healthier food options front and center. We've been working with Elroy's, y'all might know them up here. They kind of were born a Blue Zones grocery store, but ways to put produce kind of more forward. I'm sure you all can relate if you're hungry and you're in the checkout line and you see a candy bar, you just want to grab that candy bar on your way out. We work with grocery stores to remove all the kind of junk food from checkout lanes and put options for fruit and vegetables and water instead of sugar sweetened beverages. So again, all of these environmental changes. And then of course, working with civic and faith-based organizations. If you all have any recommendations for places or organizations that we can work with and we can reach out to, please let me know. I have some business cards here. This is how the work unfolds in community, is by personal introductions and connections. So I'd love your help with that if you've got any ideas. The final P is policy. And so this is the kind of deeper, systemic, long-term change work that we bring to community. So we partner with cities and municipalities, advocacy groups, all sorts of different folks to work in these three areas. So in the built environment, we're endeavoring to make cities more livable, bikeable, walkable, increase access to open space, parks and green spaces, public transportation, all of these things that will support a healthier lifestyle. Thank you. Tobacco policy as well. We're lucky here in California. Our tobacco policies are pretty well advanced compared to some of the other communities that we work with across the US, but there's always room for improvement. And so we're working with lots of different municipalities right now to improve tobacco cessation policy, ordinances, and so forth. And then food policy, education, access, equity, all these different pieces to improve health and well-being in the community as well. The whole point of all of this is to live longer, better, and do it together in community. So if you all have, yeah, that'd be great. We're going to pass around a little clipboard. If you want to learn more about the work, please add your name to it. There's also on your tables, there is a pledge that you'll see. And we have this lovely little gift basket here. There's a couple of tumblers. There's a bottle of wine, so you all can practice your wine at 5. There's the Blue Zones National Geographic magazine. If you sign the pledge today, I'll put you into a little raffle for you all to win this gift basket. So you can check that out. There should be some pens on the table as well, and you would just detach the lower little section there. And lastly, I think that was probably close to the last slide. Yeah. Perfect. Yep. There's also so many ways to get involved. I've mentioned a few things. We've got a walking Moai launch happening in Seaside this weekend. We actually got 3 things happening. So if you want to just jump right in with us, you have a great opportunity on Saturday. We've got a walking group that's starting in Seaside at Laguna Grande Park. There's a beach cleanup that we're doing in collaboration with the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. There's a walk for health that we're doing in collaboration with Montage at Paulo Corona. And lots more things. There's an Eventbrite link that I might pass on to you all, and then maybe we could distribute it digitally so you can check it out. There's also a rewards program that you can join if you like. There's a little flyer on your desks, sorry, not desks, tables, that you can take a read. There's a Eat Wisely challenge that's happening for this first quarter here in January. So you can take a look at that as well. So that's it. I think I've managed to follow my time. I don't know if we have any time for question and answer at all, but I'm available. I'll be around afterwards for sure as well.
Questions? We do have time for questions. Any questions? Anybody? Dino.
Very savvy, trained to wait for the microphone. So, Tanya, thanks so much. So, did you see any trends during COVID? This is such a wonderful outdoor place. I can see something is going badly health-wise, but did you see positive growth in Blue Zones areas during COVID?
Yeah, I mean, COVID, of course, has impacted all of us, and also I think encouraged us to try and find silver linings as much as we can. And so, you know, absolutely, the mental health issue has been very present. And I think we've seen a lot of folks being quite interested in the purpose workshops that we offer. We've been able to pivot a lot of them and offer them virtually. So there's been a lot of interest in that. And these walking groups, people just want to get outside and move and connect and meet new people. It's been amazing, actually. When the project started in Salinas, the walking group idea was good, but it didn't really have a lot of traction. But in pandemic time, people are showing up and they're so excited to get involved. So that's been terrific. Yeah, yes. Blue Zone's approved work site. So there's many examples. If you go on our website, you can see all the different schools and work sites and grocery stores and restaurants that have gone through the approval process. It's been tremendous. And we're always looking for more to engage. So again, if you have recommendations, happy for that. Any other questions online, audience?
We've got one in the room.
One in the room.
Quickly, thank you so much for the presentation. I'll come up right after from our organization. But one of the things I saw there that has always been on my mind, being a nonprofit for over 30 years, is that part of to me, our conflict here locally, country, world, is that we don't gather around the table and eat together
Mhm.
and talk together.
Mhm.
So I look at that was part of this and speak just a little bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that very much. And of course, again, COVID time has made those sorts of things challenging, but that's really at the heart of what we're talking about. If we sit at a table in community, we'll eat slower. We'll take time to connect and learn about the folks that we're joining with. That's the concept of these potluck moais. I think there's, this kind of the fast food culture that we've gotten ourselves into people have lost food skills to a certain degree. So that's another piece that we're hoping, pandemic allowing to start doing cooking classes again, empowering people with skills and ways to eat healthier, and really capitalize on the abundance of beautiful produce that we have grown right here in the Salinas Valley. So yeah, absolutely. More eating together in community is much of what we do.
Roos, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet. Got it? Okay. Real quick. You got it? Okay. What we do, instead of handing you something like a pen or a hamburger, we what we do is, and you may or may not know this, Rotary's been involved in the helping to try to eradicate polio around the world for years and years and years. So we make a donation on your behalf to this, and it's a great project, and this means we're this close to eradicating it. So thank you for your talk today, and we're happy to do this.
Oh,
so
thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Real quick. Next week, Dr. Catherine Hambley, Brain Science and Leadership. Our quote, since it was Martin Luther King Day earlier this week, basically just one of his quotes I thought was particularly apt for us as Rotarians. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And I think most folks in this room can be proud in terms of answering that question as Rotarians. So that's our closing quote for today. And here we go. You got to be quick. Live longer, better. See you later.